Sri on Makesh Kawat. I can't see. Madam Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman.
Thank you, sir. Even at the stage of introduction, I had mentioned that we are discussing amendments to the Payment and Settlement System Act 2007, the Income Tax Act of 2025, and also amendment to the Finance Act of 2026. Sir, post the budget this year, considering the evolving global situation, considering...
No, ministers, after minister reply, I will call you. See, when I called you, you are in person.
Please take your seat. Just for a minute. क्या हुआ? Nothing. Oh, नहीं अभी. Please. Before calling Honorable Minister, there is a Dr. John Britas to briefly put his points. Then I'll call him. For 2 minutes. It's for 2 minutes. You are not here.
I am here, sir. I am here, sir.
Please.
Sir. Sir, please don't deny the right of a member who have moved a motion. You are doing a wrong thing. And all these 10 courts are more into
Please,
yes.
Honorable members, there is one direction by chairman, the then chairman. It's of, I think, 1974. On the same issue, when the mover was not present in the house. Please, as they are telling you are not there. After calling down to reply, then please, I'll come to you. Just I'll come to you. But first, let me read the direction of the chair. I cannot restrain myself from observing that the mover of the resolution is not present here, nor anyone who appended their names to the resolution is present here. As the opposition wants the minister to be present, when somebody moves a resolution, he should also be present to hear the debate. This is the ruling. Even then, briefly, in 2 minutes you put the point. Please.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Please.
I am thankful to the deputy chairman.
2 minutes only. 2 minutes.
Sir, 5 minutes minimum, sir. Sir, Honorable Minister.
Please.
Honorable, baite, what is it?
Just briefly you tell you आपकी समय जा रहा, आपका समय जा रहा.
Sir, Honorable Minister has facilitated promulgation of the ordinance and subsequently brought this bill, thinking that the foreign capital would come to this country. And she is much more relying on the promises of the foreign countries. There have been insistence on the part of US Trade Representative that you need to charge UPI. The same pressure was exerted on Brazil, they didn't heed them. Now, the policy of the government is completely being upended, and she has cleverly brought in the UPI component in this piece of legislation. Madam, see, what was the statement of the Honorable Prime Minister? I am quoting, sir. Prime Minister Modi told first G20 finance ministers and central bank governors in February 2023 that India's digital payment ecosystem had been developed as a free public good. Thus, the current bill goes against the principle of India. The government policy from 2017 to 2025 was to keep digital payment charges away from merchants and consumers. Thus, the current bill which she wants this house to pass is violation of the solemn assurance of the Honorable Prime Minister. And Madam Finance Minister knows that this NBCI have been formed by 50-55 stakeholders, including our banks and financial institutions. And she all of a sudden says that, sir, what is it, sir?
Time is over,
Sir, they are eager.
No,
Sir, at least the finance, sir, at least the finance minister should know what I am trying to say.
You have already spoken.
Sir, I will tell you one thing.
Please.
This government has to concentrate on the basic issues of this nation.
Thank you.
Sir, what is
Thank
it,
you.
sir?
No,
Sir?
time is over.
What
sir.
time, sir? I just
I
wanted
was given 2 minutes.
Then I will not speak, sir. Give me 3 minutes.
You have already spoken.
Give me
Finish,
please give me.
finish.
Sir, what did they talk about the depreciating rupee? 2013, what was the statement of the Honorable Prime Minister? The rupee is in ICU. There is deep corruption in Delhi. That's why the rupee is plummeting. Sir, what is the rupee value now, sir? What is the rupee value?
Please.
How much rupee you have to pay to get a dollar? Sir, I can tell you, there is a foreign capital flight that we are suffering.
Thank you.
Sir,
Over.
sir,
Now
the-
3 minutes over. No. Thank
Sir,
you. No.
sir,
Now
Sir.
I'll request, please, you have 3 minutes. I have already.
Give me 1 minute, I'll sum up.
No, please.
I request the Honorable Finance
Please,
Minister,
now,
please come on board
Honorable
and
Finance
explain to the
Minister
nation
Srimati Nirmala
that
Sitharaman
why
to
they...
reply the discussion. Honorable Finance, please. No, sir. I allowed you 3 minutes. The time was 2 minutes. Even I read the ruling. You are not in the house. Please. You are not in the house. Even then I gave opportunity to you. Please do not go. Honorable Finance Minister, please. Honorable Finance Minister. Abul, please. Abul. Honorable Finance Minister.
So thank you, sir.
Please. Honorable. Please.
Thank you, sir. So, sir,
Have patience of listening, Honorable Finance Minister. Please. Have patience of listening, Honorable Finance Minister now. Please.
so thank you, sir. As I said, we are dealing with 3 different acts and their amendments. Because of the evolving global situation, sir, Income Tax Amendment Ordinance of 2026 was brought in sometime early June 2026. And in that, we had just 2 proposals in the ordinance. The 2 proposals were
Please. Once, please, up, please.
Sir, that is,
Please.
John Brittas can please stay here if he wants to hear one line, sir.
Yes,
That's
I
a
told you,
typical
Chair.
communist style. Blast everybody with not facts. Twist the facts and do something, and also demand my right, I have to speak, all that. And when actually the replies are going to be given to them point by point, they don't have the courage. Cowards! Communists in this country, communists in this country are total cowards. Member has proven that. They can't face facts, but they will go on filibustering, making noise. I have a right. They don't have a right to listen. When the reply is given, I feel like saying it's my right to stand up and reply. I honor every member for whatever they say and reply taking their names. Honorable John Britta should stay here to hear the reply, because he has been creating confusion all over, not just here but in the country, because that's the tactics the communists adopt. Total lies, sir. I'm sorry, lies may not be parliamentary, untruths. So when I said there are three acts we are dealing with today, one is an ordinance which was passed on 5th, ordinance which was issued on 5th June 2026, in order that we can address some of the challenging global situations. And that ordinance had only two particular aspects. It was issued with two things. First was an exemption of capital gains and interest on investment in G6 to FIIs. So if FIIs were to invest in government securities, they would get exemption of capital gains and also exemption on the tax exemption on the interest for those investments which are made in the G6. So that was one thing on which that ordinance came out. The other aspect that the ordinance came out on was providing again exemption, tax exemption for capital gains and tax exemption on interest on investments again in government securities to the Bank of International Settlement. So the ordinance of 5th June 2026 had only these two issues, and now that ordinance will have to be made into a law or made part of the law. So we are coming with those two, but we are not coming with just those two. We are bringing in newer things as well, in addition, that is. So what are those newer things, sir? Again, keeping the global developing dynamic situation in mind, we have come up with a few more additional points which relate to taxation and other laws. So the first one, I'll be very brief about what are the additional things which are coming in. The first one is to extend the exemption period which are provided for foreign companies which provide capital goods equipments to a contract manufacturer. Take an example, sir, of some kind of a commodity which is being produced. But when producing that, they need certain tools or equipments to produce that. Those tools and equipments are not manufactured in this country, but they need that here. They may bring it here, use it here, and once the production is over, it may go back or it may be left behind, because they are specifically made and designed for the production of these kind of tools. So for them, the exemption of tax, the exemption from tax for those equipments which are uniquely for the manufacture of certain things that are produced in this country. So that with some conditions we are allowing that exemption. The conditions, I will just say one or two conditions which have to be satisfied for becoming eligible for those exemption is the ownership of such capital goods or equipment or tools remains with the foreign company. It cannot be transferred to the local company. Such capital goods and equipment or tools is under the control and the direction of the contract manufacturer who's manufacturing in this country. Third, the contract manufacturer should be company resident in India and located in a custom bonded area. And finally, the contract manufacturer produces electronic goods on behalf of a foreign company for a consideration. If he fulfills these conditions, they will be eligible for the tax exemption for those tools, for those machines which come uniquely for manufacturing those items. So what would this do? For instance, some of the items are laptops, all-in-one personal computers and tablets, servers, ultra-small form factor USFF, as they say, sub-assemblies to the finished goods, and so on, sir. So this is aimed at getting larger ecosystem to come into the country, so that a specific manufacturing which is now giving good results for India can now get the entire ecosystem to India, so that that process of manufacturing is not a one-off item. So many other investments will come for providing additional support to that ecosystem itself and create employment, bring in newer investments and so on. So a larger ecosystem for enabling contract manufacturing for, not limited to, for mobile phones, laptops, personal computers, servers and related equipments which can be done in India. So that is one of the additional thing over and above the two ordinance related matter. The amendments are for this. The second one, sir, amendment of conditions of provisions providing exemption to a foreign company procuring data services from a specified data center. So this also comes with a lot of, and this exemption is provided up to the year ending 31st March 2047. Long-term certainty so that investments come. These are big ticket investments. They have to come with a certain certainty which can be provided to them. They also have a lot of such conditions. Now, what is the outcome that we are expecting by bringing this? The outcome that I'm expecting is to provide ease of doing business for companies, providing cloud services by way of procuring data center services in India. The amendment is also expected to enable much larger ecosystem, again, of Indian data centers, providing data center services to a foreign company. The reform will enable AI data cities in India and is expected to bring in significant investments for AI data cities in India. Sir, I want to add beyond the language of the Act itself, which I've partly narrated, that there is an apprehension that this is only for foreign companies. These kind of exemptions are not going to be available for Indian companies. It's not true at all, sir. I want to explain how. This will enable, sir, current data centers to expand their footprints and services for foreign cloud service providers. There are foreign cloud service providers, but there are very many Indian companies providing services to them. They also get covered. This will have the impact of large-scale expansion and setting up of hyperscale data centers in India. Also, the investments, the assets, this is a very critical and important point, sir. The investment, the assets, the employment, and also the profits which will rest with Indian companies on account of data center reforms. I repeat that line, sir. The investment, the assets, the employment, and also the profit will rest with Indian companies on account of the data center reforms. Another point, sir. The reseller entity of this foreign cloud service provider will also be an Indian entity. These taxes shall also come to India back again and will expand the reseller ecosystem. The exemption to the foreign cloud service provider is given till 2047 because data center is a long gestation asset and long working life. Investor makes heavy investment and in turn seeks certainty of tax treatment. So it is not just for foreign companies. In fact, the Indian company ecosystem can expand because of this exemptions that we are giving. Third, sir, other than the two which come along with the ordinance which have to be made into a law, the additions that we are making, the third addition is exemption to foreign mining company engaged in the business of selling rough diamonds. I can't see member Vikramjit Sawhney, who spoke elaborately on this point. Foreign mining companies, sir, are allowed, not today, since 2016, to display uncut and unassorted diamonds in specified or special notified zones such as Mumbai and Surat, and such display is exempted from forming a business connection in India. They come, bring stocks, display it, and whatever is chosen is also taken back, and then they bill it from there. They have no other connection with any of the buyers or companies which are here. This has been on since 2016. For enabling sale of rough diamonds in these zones, safe harbor rules or a framework under Rules 99, 102 of the Income Tax Rules 2026 was provided for foreign mining companies engaged in the business of selling raw diamonds, uncut diamonds, wherein the profit and gains of the eligible business chargeable to tax shall be 4%. That is the safe harbor, or more of the gross receipts from that business. So in order to promote the ecosystem for trading in raw and rough diamonds and provide tax certainty, it is proposed through this amendment that we are bringing to expand the definition of raw or rough diamonds to include assorted diamonds and also provide exemption to a foreign company engaged in the business of diamond mining or a foreign company functioning as a site holder, broker, aggregator, or a tender and auction entity for such businesses for a period of 15 years up to tax year ending 31st March 2041. We have elaborately mentioned each one of the categories so that there is no confusion about who is eligible and who is not eligible. The new provision, therefore, is proposed to be inserted at serial number 13F of the table in Schedule 4 of the Income Tax Act 2025. The amendment outcome, sir, what are we expecting from this? The amendment is expected to shift some of the diamond trading businesses which happen in places like Amsterdam, Antwerp, or parts of Israel to move to India, diamond trading business to India, and also promote ecosystem for financing of buying and selling of diamonds in India itself. Now also somewhat in Middle East, Dubai, and so on. So all these people, because of this exemptions provided, can now do that wholesale business here and be accessible to Indian buyers. That is the outcome that we expect, that the entire ecosystem can be available here. India is very well known for polishing and cutting the diamonds. Now if that business also moves here, our diamond industry, which is a very labor intensive, maximum labor employment is provided by these units, can benefit. So, fourth amendment which we are bringing here, exemption to a foreign company storing components for sale to a contract manufacturer involved in manufacturing of specified electronic goods. So I just want to elaborate on this. Assume that there is a phone manufacturer. There are several thousands of little parts which go into making that phone. Each time he wants a particular component, he will have to place an order, wait for the component to be brought in, then supplied, then make it. But making of these items, which are very export sensitive, require timely supply of these components. There is no way in which you can expedite the supply if you have to each time import it. So among the industry, the idea was, if there was, unless they're keeping it in a ship in the high seas, instead of that, they could hold it within our borders, somewhere close to the port, not as a ownership, it's in the ship or here, but immediately supplied to that particular notified manufacturer, that particular component, and whatever tax has to be paid will be paid. Therefore, foreign companies were provided a safe harbor till now at the rate of 2% or more of the gross receipts from the business activity of storage of components in a warehouse in a custom bonded area. So the framework is part of Rule 99 to 102 of the Income Tax Rules 2026, applies where such components are sold to a contract manufacturer, specified fellow, of specified electronic goods. So what are we proposing now? Accordingly, it is proposed that exemption may be provided on the income of a foreign company storing components for sale to a contract manufacturer involved in manufacturing a specified electronic goods for a period of 15 years up to the tax year ending 31st March 2041. So the specific or specified electronic goods are again mobile phones, laptops, all-in-one personal computers and tablets, servers, ultra-small form factors, USFF, sub-assemblies to the finished goods mentioned in clauses 1 and 2, that is phone and laptops, hearables, wearables, and accessories related to finished goods mentioned in clauses 1 and 2. So what is the outcome we are expecting out of this? Amendment is expected to enable a much larger ecosystem for contract manufacturing of mobile phones, laptops, personal computers, servers, and related components in India. So the fifth additional thing that we are bringing on is exemption to a unit holder on dividend received or receivable from a special purpose vehicle of business trust where such SPV is a new regime. So this is a very simplified one, which I think all of us were aware of. We brought in the accumulated MAT, which was in the old income tax regime, sort of as a final tax, and from now we wouldn't collect MAT under the old regime, nor do we want to collect under the new regime. But in order to exhaust the MAT or the MAT, which has already got accumulated, we said companies will have to move over to the new tax regime. Now, when they move into the new tax regime with the accumulated MAT, which they would want to exhaust, they would have a SPV in the case of InvITs and so on. They would have an SPV. That's one thing which has happened through the finance bill. In the new income tax regime, sir, we don't allow any exemptions, which is well known to everybody. But because people are moving into the new regime with accumulated MAT, they have to exhaust it. Then what happens is, if they pass the dividend from their hand to the unit holder, because it's all units which come together, InvIT is a set of units, Ratus is a set of units. Unit holder is an individual. When they pay the dividend in the new tax regime, these dividend receivers, unit holders, will be subject to tax. So that is inconsistent with the practice which existed in the old regime. So when they have come here to exhaust their MAT, if they are exhausting their MAT, the dividend payable, we are now exempting for in the hands of the unit holder, who is an individual. So the SPV of a business trust may also have to move to the new tax regime, either to avoid final MAT tax in the old regime or to avail accumulated MAT credit in the new regime, which is what I explained. So this will lead to unit holders losing the exemption on dividend income, which is why we are giving the exemption to the unit holder. What would this be as an outcome? The amendment is expected to further boost investments in real estate, and infrastructure through business trusts, because we are making it consistent. So the sixth one and the last one is over and above the two which were part of the ordinance. The sixth one is relaxation of conditions for eligible investment funds where an eligible fund manager relocates into India. So this is a very interesting case, because as per 9(2) of the Income Tax Act 2025, income is deemed to accrue or arise in India if it accrues or arises directly or indirectly through or from any asset or source of income in India, or any property in India, or any business connection in India, or transfer of capital assets situated in India. Now, when all this is so completely India, there are cases where a fund operates outside, but the fund manager is located in India. In order to exempt such cases, several conditions have been prescribed in respect of an eligible investment fund and also the fund manager. Presently, there are 13 conditions for the eligible investment fund and 4 conditions for the fund manager. Some of these conditions stand relaxed in IFSA. However, there have been persistent representations from the industry to rationalize the said conditions so that fund managers could relocate to India. So, Schedule 1 of the Income Tax Act of 2025, sir, is proposed to be amended. So that's the amendment, the sixth one, to relax the conditions for being an eligible investment fund. It has been proposed to reduce the number of such conditions from 13 at present to only 5 conditions to rationalize the said conditions. The proposed 5 conditions are these: fund is not resident in India, fund is resident in a country or specified country which is having a DTA, double taxation avoidance agreement with India, or in a notified jurisdiction. Aggregate investment by Indian residents does not exceed 5% of the corpus. Fund does not carry on or control and manage directly or indirectly any business in India. No person acting on behalf of the fund engages in any activity which constitutes business connection in India other than the activities undertaken by the eligible fund manager. So what is the outcome that we are expecting out of this, sir? The amendment is expected to promote fund management activity in India. Sir, globally it is recognized Indians are exceptionally good in fund management. We want more of them to come reside in India and manage funds. Funds can be outside, but if the fund manager comes to India, we are able to have better administration, and more people who are very good in this field can get opportunities within India. So the amendment is expected to promote fund management activity in India, as it will enable relocation of fund managers to India. As I said, Indians have much expertise in fund management, and it is expected that many fund managers of global funds will relocate to India in IFSC or also elsewhere in the country. So ordinance plus these amendments are the ones which we are talking about, sir. So I'll come to the most discussed and debated points, sir. On the UPI. First of all, what does this amendment do about the UPI? So the Taxation and Other Laws Amendment Bill, as we call this Bill 2026, which has been passed by the Lok Sabha, which is now being discussed here, proposes to amend Section 10A of the Payment and Settlement Systems Act 2007. The amendment is an enabling provision. It does not impose any tax or transaction charge on UPI users. Let this be clear. It enables the government to specify through notification the electronic payment modes that will continue to receive statutory protection against charges. So I'd like to read that again. The enabling provision that we are bringing in today does not impose any tax or transaction charge on UPI users. It enables the government to specify through notification the electronic payment modes that will continue to receive statutory protection against charges. Once the bill is passed in Parliament, the UPI and Services Steering Committee, headed by the National Payments Corporation of India, will consider and decide whether any MDR should be introduced, and if so, its scope and structure. So that is the committee which will have to see what is the scope of anything now that the enabling provision allows them. Therefore, no MDR framework has yet been finalized. Let's take that as the first step. I'll also, before I come to the specifics, want to say experience from Visa and MasterCard. Electronic merchants routinely pay MDR of around 1.5% to 2% or plus more than 2% on credit cards and up to 0.90% on debit cards today too. Yet major retailers generally do not add a separate charge to the customers. So you have these charges on the businesses, but they don't charge separately on the customers. Instead, they actively promote card usage through discounts and EMI offers. For instance, I'm taking names just for us to understand. Amazon, Flipkart, Chroma, Reliance Digital, Vijay Sales, etc. On a 10,000 rupees or up to 1 lakh purchase, you'll typically find them following on credit and debit cards, instant bank discounts, no cost EMI options, additional cashback offers, or exchange bonuses. The merchant is already bearing payment acceptance cost because digital payments help drive higher sales and large ticket sizes. A vast number of electronic purchases are financed through EMI in one form or the other. Customers often choose a card specifically because of EMI and issuer-funded offers. UPI is currently the least attractive option in this category, even with zero MDR. Unlike credit cards, today, nobody offers rewards and issuer-funded discounts on UPI. The sustainable revenue stream can actually enable more innovations such as merchant issuer offers on UPI. So just so that we talk comparably, sir, merchant or payment acceptance charges are used in several major faster payment ecosystems. Australia, sir, up to Australian dollar 0.3 per transaction or 0.50% per transaction. Brazil, about which our Honorable Member John Britta said, Brazil example. Brazil has 0.22% to 0.33%. I'm giving an indicative charge. Brazil has charges. China, which they'll feel very close towards, approximately 0.40%. I don't know if you'll be able to shout at Beijing, hey, we follow you. Why are you charging on NDR? Are you anti-people? China does it, it's all right. But China has charge. Indonesia, 0.30%. Japan, US dollar 1 or 1.49 flat amount. South Korea, 0.72 to 1.99%. South Africa, approximately 0.4%, capped at 30 rand, which is the South African currency. Singapore has 1.30%. Thailand has up to 10 baht, which is their currency. US 0.5%. Now, come to our today's situation, about which a lot of members spoke. Feeling strongly about it, sir, I want to say. Will consumers pay any UPI charge? No. UPI has remained free for consumers since its launch, and every Indian will continue to make this instant digital payment without paying a transaction charge. Sir, I want to just, क्योंकि बहुत सारे मेंबर्स हिंदी में बताए, मेरा हिंदी थोड़ा कमज़ोर है, फिर भी मैं बोलना चाहती हूँ. I heard Honorable Member Sanjay Singh saying, चाय वाला, सब्जी वाला, ठेले वाला, पटरी वाला, छोटे छोटे व्यापारी, मिनिमम सर्विस चार्ज वगैरह, ये कोई एमडीआर पे नहीं करेंगे. चाय वाले के ऊपर, सब्जी वाले के ऊपर, ठेले वाले के ऊपर, पटरी वाले के ऊपर एमडीआर चार्ज नहीं लगेगी. सर, छोटे मर्चेंट्स और किराना स्टोर्स हमारे इंक्लूसिव फाइनेंशियल स्कीम्स और सरकार के ये बहुत बड़ा कमिटमेंट है फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन का. स्मॉल मर्चेंट्स रिमेन सेंट्रल टू यूपीआई's इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ. उनके ऊपर हम कोई एमडीआर लगाने वाले नहीं है, इरादा नहीं है. इनेबलिंग प्रोविजन का हम ध्यान रखना है. Any future MDR will apply only to a limited category of merchant transactions above a certain prescribed high threshold. The vast majority of merchant transactions, including ordinary low value transactions, will continue to remain free. इसीलिए मैं उसी शब्दों को रिपीट करना चाहती हूँ. चाय वाला, रेडी पटरी वाला, छोटे दुकानदार, उनके ऊपर एमडीआर लगाने वाले नहीं है.
Please.
सर, ये बात हमारे कम्युनिस्ट दोस्तों के लिए अच्छा गाना जैसे मीठा मीठा लगने वाले थे, मगर वो नहीं है अभी. हाँ, उनको हम जाके बोलना चाहिए, भैया प्लीज इतना अच्छा खुशखबरी हम आपको दे रहे हैं, मगर बाहर जाकर दोबारा वही गलत फहमियां रगड़ रगड़ करके बोलना नहीं है. पार्लियामेंट में जब जवाब दे दिया, बाहर जाकर के गलत फहमी फैलाने वाले के ऊपर इस देश में कुछ प्रश्न उठाना चाहिए. मैं ये नहीं बोल रही हूँ कानून बनाना चाहिए, कम से कम उनके ऊपर प्रश्न तो उठाना चाहिए. क्या है भाई, पार्लियामेंट में सुन लिया, एनपीसीए कल तो मीडिया में बोल दिए, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज के द्वारा गए ना, फिर भी हम हमारे ही ध्वनि में जाएंगे. गलतफहमी कहाँ सर? आदत के मजबूर.
केरल में भी साफ हो गए.
हाँ, इसीलिए केरल में भी टोटल साफ हो गए. भारत देश में अभी कई कम्युनिस्ट का राज्य नहीं है. सर, so the amendment does not contemplate a blanket charge on vegetable vendors, चाय वाले, फ्लावर वाले, ऑटो ड्राइवर्स, किराना स्टोर, किसी के ऊपर हम कोई इसमें नहीं. इससे ज्यादा इस विषय में और ना करते हुए सर, वर्ल्ड लार्जेस्ट रियल टाइम पेमेंट सिस्टम हमारा है. इन जुलाई 2026 अलोन we processed 2,366 crore transactions worth, in July alone, worth 29.9 lakh crores. वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड. ये हमारा छोटे स्वनिधि व्यापारी या डिजिटल पेमेंट के द्वारा छोटे छोटे क्यूआर कोड्स रखने वाले, रेडी पटरी वाले, सबके देन है भारत देश का। उनके ट्रांसैक्शंस के द्वारा हमारी यूपीआई बढ़ रही है। और हमारे ही स्पीकर शायद हमारे महाराष्ट्र से जो बात किए, या धनंजय याद दिलाए हमें कैसे फॉर्मर वित्त मंत्री जी हंसी मजाक से हमारे देश में पावर है क्या, छोटे लोगों के पास इंटरनेट है क्या वगैरह पूछे थे। एक समय पर सब लोग उनके साथी हंस रहे थे। आज उसी यूपीआई 2366 करोड़ एक ही जुलाई 2026 महीना में ट्रांसैक्शन किए पूरे देश में चल रही है। हम इसका वैल्यू समझ रहे हैं और 11 देश में लाइव यूपीआई आज भी अवेलेबल है, सिर्फ भारत में नहीं पूरे दुनिया में। इसीलिए मैं सभी मेंबर्स को ये बताना चाह रही हूँ, इस मॉडल को सस्टेनेबल रखना भारत देश के हित में, क्योंकि हमारे लिए ये बहुत बड़ा वरदान है और हमारे लिए ये बहुत बड़ा ताकत है। आज देश में बहुत विदेश में हमसे पूछ रहे हैं कि ये टेक्नोलॉजी हमें भी दे। ये सस्टेनेबल रहना है, सेफ रहना है, रिसिलिएंट रहना है, इनोवेशन इसमें और ज़्यादा होना है। इसीलिए हम इसमें गलत फहमी फैलाना नहीं है। मैं स्पष्ट तौर से आपके सामने आपके द्वारा सभी मेंबरों को इसमें जो भी है गलत फहमियाँ उसको हटाने के लिए कोशिश की। धन्यवाद सर।
माननीय सदस्यगण, नो यहाँ नहीं है।